Maybe you're in love with the dream but terrified to pay the price. I know we've all been there when you've set yourself some huge goals, maybe going to the gym every day for the next month, or even going to the gym every couple of days for the next couple of weeks, right? From doing nothing for the past 6 months, right? No gym at all, to going to once again going regularly, or starting from zero, right? Never going to the gym, and then all of a sudden you set this expectation, right? New Year's resolution that you're going to do this, and you never end up accomplishing even 10% of it. And it doesn't have to only be in these kind of situations, right? Maybe you've thought about doing something, right? And then you've realized that this might actually be really good for you, and you actually kind of want to do it a lot, right? But you end up just not doing it because you're too afraid to start, or you come up with all sorts of reasons, right? But I can't do this, I don't have the time, I don't have the means, I don't have whatever. And that's what it really, in my opinion, means to be afraid of the price. And this all comes down to being afraid to change yourself, and being afraid of losing this comfort that you have right now, right? Getting out of your comfort zone. And who wouldn't be scared, right, to leave this place of comfort and this place of regularity and this common and all too well known, right, place that you are currently in, and choose and consciously choose, right, to go do something that's scary and that's something that's discomforting, right, and puts you out of your comfort zone. Nobody really wants to do that, but I think it's extremely important and crucial to realize that is the only way that you could actually achieve greatness, and it's the only way that could possibly move you forward in life and actually help you achieve all of the dreams that you want to accomplish, right? You can't really expect to get big, right, in the gym, or like to build muscle without going through pain, right? Without going through hardship, without going to the gym, without training, without doing all this. You can't really expect to get big. Even if you take steroids, you can't really expect to get big, right? By just laying in bed, right? You still have to put yourself through pain, right, and suffering, and you actually have to exercise. Living a life of discomfort is arguably actually so much better. Even though it's constantly difficult, it's constantly a strain on your mental well-being, right? It's constantly something that it's discomforting, right? It's a feeling of discomfort and a feeling of being scared, right? That I don't want to do this, or I don't know what I'll end up accomplishing, or I don't want to take on this task because I don't know if I'll actually be able to accomplish it. But putting yourself out there and putting yourself in front of these kind of situations is extremely vital in order for you to realize that you can actually accomplish absolutely anything. There's nothing that you can't really accomplish if you really put your mind to it. You can probably do almost anything, right? I'm not talking about spaceships and doing all this, right? I'm not talking about completely irrational stuff. I'm talking about stuff that is rational. And now that's obviously a fact, a thing of what you think is rational for you. And let me just tell you, it's take what you think is rational and multiply that by about four or five times. It's at least that, right? If you think that you might be able to repair a bicycle, right, with some difficulty, believe me that you can actually repair a car, granted with much more difficulty, but you could possibly do it. Maybe it won't be right or great the first time around, but you will eventually get better at it, and you will eventually realize, you know, what you have to do. And that's what I'm saying, right? It's the way you push yourself and the way you think about what you can accomplish that actually pushes you forward, right? You thought you could repair a bicycle, now you're onto a car. Now you actually are confident, right, that you can repair cars. Now you take on something even more difficult, right? Maybe heavy machinery or whatever, right? It's this idea that this price, right? Every time you have to still pay the price, right? You still have to get out of your comfort zone, right? Somebody who thought that they can repair a bicycle, right, with some difficulty, right, and never did it before, still push themselves out of the comfort zone, repair this bicycle, and now they might take on a car, right? That's obviously a big jump, but I'm just saying, right, if they take on a car, it's still they still put themselves out of their comfort zone in a big way, right? There's a huge difference, right? They're still very uncomfortable, but they're going forward, right? They are now learning how to repair a car. Then once they do that, if they move on to bigger things, still even bigger discomfort, right? It's still every time the price you have to pay is bigger and bigger, and it's still more discomfort and more discomfort as you go along. But in the end, it's worth it, because in the end, you look back at everything you've accomplished, you look back at everything you've ever done, and you realize that it was definitely worth it. I've done so much, and it's only because I thought I could do better, right? Every time I did something, every time I accomplished something, I thought I could do better. But at the same time, every time I thought that I could do better, I actually put myself out there, and I actually got out of my comfort zone, and I actually did better, right? And it's a matter of realizing that there's also always a price, and being ready to pay the price, right? No matter what. And if, say, you have big goals, big ambitions, big dreams, right, and you actually think that you can accomplish them, guess what? You'll go way further than that, right? If you think that it's truly possible for you to become, I don't know, a spaceship engineer, right? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe you'll end up the next Elon Musk, right? You'll end up building your own spaceships, spacecrafts, right? Building your own space exploring company. You never know, right? It's a matter of perspective, and it's a matter of how far your perspective stretches, and it's also a matter of how much you're willing to pay for it, right? Because nobody got famous, nobody got rich, nobody got anywhere they wanted to go without actually putting in the effort and actually trying as hard as possible to get there. You can definitely, right, try less and be a little bit more chill about this, right, and actually go at it step by step instead of like going as hard as possible towards one thing. But in the end, you'll just end up accomplishing way less compared to other people, and also you will take longer in accomplishing these things, right? And it's not ideal, right? Of course, for some people this might be exactly what they're looking for, right? Just steady, go day by day, right? Slow improvements, but it's not for everybody. And if you're one of the people who actually wants to accomplish as much as possible, you definitely have to realize that you also have to pay the biggest price, and it's vital to understand this, and vital to actually be ready to pay it. Otherwise, you'll just live a life of regret. You either have to get comfortable with the idea that you have to pay the price of discomfort, or you have to get comfortable with the idea that you're just going to live a useless and meaningless life, right? And you'll actually never accomplish all of the things that you've always wanted to accomplish. So, yeah, just as always, put yourself out there, realize that there's a price, and don't be afraid to pay it. It's in the beginning, it's a difficult price to pay, but it gets easier and easier along the way, and it's the most worth it product that you could possibly get in the end. So yeah, put yourself out there and always try to do your best.